how Schoolhub supports Tanzanian teachers and learners in meeting the Tanzania National AI Strategy. So you all have been participating in these trainings where we have been discussing about the strategies. So now it's because we are coming more and more, I hope we will more and more use Schoolhub. So it's very important for us to compare so how it really supports the strategies and at the same time kind of learn more to understand about the strategies. And because this is recorded, I think we can just start and then the ones who join us later, they can watch the recording. Would this be good?
That's good.
All right. So I will open my PowerPoint and share my screen. All right, and then I will diminish this one. Yes, so now this is recorded. Yeah, I think it announced that this session will be recorded, so hopefully, yeah. So in this part of our training, I'll try to explore how Schoolhub can support you as Tanzanian teachers and also, of course, learners in meeting the national AI guidelines. The goal is to connect the national expectations with practical, easy-to-use tool that is already helping educators in many concrete ways. As I told you, and I think also Camilla mentioned that Schoolhub is the only AI that is allowed to be used in Norway in schools. So, because it's considered to be very safe for the students. And now I will look how Schoolhub aligns with the 4 guiding principles of the strategies that we already got to know last time we were together, and how it fits all educational levels, and how it strengthens capacity building for teachers. And we will also look at the direct benefits for learners, especially in schools with limited resources. Like I know schools in Tanzania, they don't have a lot of books. They don't have that kind of resources. Of course, we also know that there are lots of schools in Tanzania that don't have the computers. But now Patandi, Themi, and Meru are lucky because you have the ICT labs. But most importantly, I want you to see how this tool can support your daily work and help you teach more effectively, more inclusively, and more confidently in the age of artificial intelligence. So first, all these topics are from the National AI Strategy. So there is the topic of ethical use, transparency, fairness, and accountability. If I compare it with Schoolhub, Schoolhub supports these principles in several important ways. First, the platform gives teachers a clear view of how materials are created and how their instructions shape the output. This helps teachers understand the process and increases transparency. Second, every piece of content is generated based on the teacher's own prompts. You remember what the prompts are. So you ask the AI to do some things. Actually, after this lecture, I will also show you how to make a good prompt, for example, for a chatbot. This means that teacher stays fully in control. The AI simply follows the guidance it is given. That makes the whole process more reliable and easier to trust. But as you know from your own experience, that it takes a lot of practicing to be able to create good prompts. Third, Schoolhub produces results consistently and predictably. This supports fairness because tasks and materials don't change randomly, and it strengthens accountability by giving teachers a stable tool that they can rely on. And finally, teachers are always encouraged to review and edit all generated content. This safeguards the most important point. The teacher remains the pedagogical decision maker. AI can support the work, but it never replaces human judgment. In this way, Schoolhub helps us uphold ethical use and ensures that AI acts as a partner, not a replacement in the teaching and learning process. Second principle is equity and inclusivity in ensuring equal access for all learners. And this is, of course, especially important for us when we are dealing with our disabled learners. So the Schoolhub can play a meaningful role here, especially in areas where resources are limited. One of the biggest strengths of the platform is that it helps teachers create learning materials that are accessible, clear, and appropriate for different levels. You remember from Camilla's presentation, I hope you remember that you can choose the level of the learner. This is incredibly important in classrooms where learners have varying needs and skills. Just think about your classes where you have, for example, in Patandi, 50 students with different disabilities, also learning disabilities. Schoolhub can also transform the same information into different formats, images, slides, tasks, or step-by-step guides. This flexibility helps teachers reach diverse learners, including those who benefit from visual supports or more structured instructions, for example, for autistic students. And finally, the platform makes it easy to create alternative versions of the same content. For example, simplified text, scaffold instructions, or shorter explanations. These kinds of adaptations can make a real difference for learners with disabilities or those who need additional support. In this way, Schoolhub supports teachers in creating equitable and inclusive learning environments where every student has a fair chance to succeed. The third principle, again very important, data privacy and security. We have to be able to protect personal information. And this is especially important when using AI in education, because we must always safeguard our learners' identities and data. One major strength of Schoolhub is that it does not require any student personal information when teachers create materials, nor when the students use Schoolhub, they don't need to give any personal information because they have the access all with this same account, which is, I think it was like student at Patandim, student at fsci.fi or whatever, but they all use the same account. So no personal information is given. So this means that tool can be used without collecting or storing sensitive data, which strongly supports these national privacy requirements. Teachers can use the platform completely without entering learner names, ages, or any individual details. And that makes the service safe to use in all classroom settings. All materials can also be created anonymously, which meets the expectations set out in the national guidelines for AI in education and supports responsible AI use. In addition, the platform's data practices are clearly documented and transparent. Teachers and institutions can see how data is handled and what information, if any, is stored. This level of transparency and safety helps ensure that AI is used ethically and that learners' personal information remains protected at every step. The fourth principle is sustainability, making sure that AI solutions are viable and scalable in the long term. And as you remember, Schoolhub promised that you have access to Schoolhub forever, which means that as long as Schoolhub exists. So hopefully it exists for a long, long time. So Schoolhub supports this principle in very practical ways. So to begin with, the platform is lightweight and web-based, as all the AIs are. This means it works well even in schools where devices or connectivity are limited. It does not require powerful computers, expensive software, or special equipment. So in fact, it runs smoothly on the basic computers. This makes it easy to adopt without needing new investments. Of course, it also runs on smartphones. Sustainability also means supporting national goals by helping teachers create digital technology-enhanced learning materials. The platform contributes directly to Tanzania's vision of building a modern, future-ready education system. And then finally, Schoolhub saves teachers significant time in lesson preparation. When teachers spend less time creating materials from scratch, they have more time for teaching, mentoring, and supporting learners. This is a long-term benefit, not only for individual teachers, but for the entire education system. In this way, School Hub fits well into the sustainability principle. It is affordable, actually it's free for us, it's scalable, and supportive of long-term improvement across the whole sector. Um, how School Hub supports the guidelines across educational levels. So I just briefly go through these. Of course, for our project, it's more concerned about the primary and secondary education. School Hub can create simple tasks, visual supports, and easy-to-read materials that match young learners' needs, especially in pre-primary and primary education. Helps teachers to explain concepts clearly and keep students engaged. You remember how Camilla showed about the quizzes which she had made for her students and also which she made for us. At the secondary level, the platform can generate a wide variety of exercises, quizzes, and content that aligns with the curriculum. This helps teachers save time and ensures that materials fit the learning objectives. Okay, just shortly, this also supports technical and vocational education and training. You can make different kind of step-by-step guides, process descriptions, visualize technical concepts. Higher education helps especially the lecturers, making the lecture slides, reading summaries, and essay prompts. And for adult education, you can, for example, simplify texts and then make flexible and practical materials. How it supports capacity building and teaching guidelines. Well, one of the key goals of the national AI guidelines is to help teachers develop the skills and competency they need to use AI responsibly and effectively. School Hub contributes strongly to that goal. First, the platform helps teachers develop AI literacy because the tools are hands-on and, for my opinion, quite simple to use. Teachers learn by doing, which is the most powerful and natural way to build confidence with new technology. Second, School Hub provides a safe and accessible environment to experiment with AI. Teachers can try things out, adjust materials, and learn at their own pace without pressure. This makes AI feel less intimidating and more like a helpful assistant. Third, the platform enables teachers to quickly create materials that support differentiation. This is very important. Assessment and inclusion. This is exactly what good teaching practice requires. Meeting students where they are, giving them the right level of support, and adapting materials when needed. And finally, because teachers use the platform, hopefully regularly, it naturally encourages responsible AI use. Everyday practice helps teachers understand how to guide the tool how to review content critically, and how to uphold ethical standards. In this way, Schoolhub is not just a tool, it is also a practical training environment that strengthens teachers' skills and supports national capacity building goals. How it benefits learners in Tanzania. Ultimately, every tool we use in education should improve learning for students, and this platform can support them in several meaningful ways. First, learners receive clearer, more varied, and more visually supportive learning materials. When information is presented in different formats, text, images, diagrams, or step-by-step explanations, students understand and remember it more easily. Second, Schoolhub helps learners at different language and skill levels. It allows teachers to simplify texts, adjust difficulty, and create supportive scaffolding. This greatly improves accessibility, especially in multilingual classrooms. If we think multilingual classrooms as like the sign language and English and Swahili in the same classroom. Third, the platform is particularly valuable in schools with limited resources, where books, printers, or projectors may be scarce. Digital materials that can be viewed on even a single computer make teaching more flexible and inclusive. And then finally, as teachers model responsible AI use, learners themselves begin to develop awareness of safe and ethical practices. And this prepares them for the digital world and helps them understand how to use AI wisely. So in these ways, it supports not only teachers, but also learners, helping create richer learning experiences for students. And then future development. I want to highlight two important points about the future of Schoolhub and the role that you can play in shaping it. First, the platform hopefully will soon include a Swahili interface. It's kind of a promise from them. It's not finished yet, but I have to remind them about the Swahili interface. It would significantly develop and help more to be more accessible and comfortable to use for teachers and learners. And it shows a genuine commitment to local needs and local languages from Schoolhub. Second, the team behind Schoolhub is very open to your ideas. They truly want to build this service together with teachers, not for teachers, but with teachers. Your suggestions, your observations, and your feedback will directly influence how the platform grows and improves. So your voice truly and really matters. You are helping shape a tool that can support teaching and learning across the whole country, or actually the whole Swahili-speaking area. If there is something you need, something that you could work better, or a feature that would help your learners, please share it. They are eager to listen. And together we can help ensure that Schoolhub becomes an even stronger and more useful resource for your education. I will share their contact information in Canvas, but if you have any suggestions, for example, right now, you can always share your suggestions with me, and I will then forward them to School Hub. We will soon also have some short discussions, but I want to show you, just to remind you about School Hub. I don't know if any one of you have created any chatbots before. Now it's difficult that I don't see you. Let me. So you can raise your hand if for example, have you created a chatbot ever? Maybe not. So in School Hub, you remember there are ready-made different kind of chatbots, both for students and for teachers. Their ready-made chatbots are, for example, Learn English, or then for teachers, you can make these. You probably remember this chatbot, Guess Who, where Camilla tried to you to get the answer for Nyerere. But now I will just create a custom chatbot. I already created a Tanzanian history chatbot, but I will make it. Okay, I will show you how it was done. So I was asking, can you see this text? Although it's a little bit small, I make it a bit bigger. You help students practice conversation in English about Tanzanian history. If the student makes spelling or grammar mistakes, correct them gently. Always reply in English and always end with a question. If the student writes in another language, ask them to continue in English. Okay, that was my prompt when I made this chatbot. How it would be used. So if a student would use this chatbot, so it starts to discuss with you. Hello, I'd love to practice English with you while we talk about Tanzanian history. Do you have a favorite figure or event in Tanzanian history? Or would you like me to start with a fun fact? Okay, I would like to know something about Nyerere, but now I purposely write it. I make some spelling mistakes. I uh, won't know Nyerere. Let's see if it guesses that I'm talking about Nyerere. Okay, send message. Great start. Think you mean Julius Nyerere. Gentle correction. I won't know Nyerere. I want to know about Nyerere. So it corrects me, but quite nicely. And if a student is now practicing with this, so he or she doesn't need to be ashamed that she made the mistakes, because it's only the chatbot that knows it. But it corrects you. And now it gives a short overview of Julius Nyerere. And then there's a timeline and quite a lot of information. Then, like in the prompt, I ask the chatbot always to continue with a question. So, would you like to know more about his Ujamaa policy, the Arusha Declaration, or his role in the union of Tanganyika and Zanzibar. So this can continue forever and ever. So, of course, if I just answer yes, let's see what it makes. Okay, it still asks you which topic. And then again, gentle correction. Instead of just yes, you could say, yes, please. I'd like to learn about Ujamaa. I think it's a very nice way to teach. Okay, but now let's see if we want to uh, uh, differentiate our teaching to help also our deaf students, for example, so that they could use Swahili. Would that be good? So now I go back here and I make a new chatbot. And now I made ready this prompt so it doesn't take time to write. So now it says it's the same prompt, but they can practice conversation in Swahili about Tanzanian history. Always reply in English and always end with a question. If the students writes in another language, ask them to continue in Swahili. Of course, you can also put here always reply in Swahili, but I put in English because otherwise I wouldn't understand. Yeah, soon I will publish it. Publish, go back, and now I have this Tanzanian history Swahili conversation bot. And okay, let's practice Swahili together while talking about Tanzanian history. Can you tell me something you know about Julius Nyerere in Swahili? Okay, I answer yes. What does it say? Thanks for your response. To keep practicing, please continue in Swahili. If you meant yes in Swahili, the correct word is ndio. I would learn something too. Okay, so the most important thing is to create the right kind of prompt to create these chatbots. But now you can decide what subject you want to teach or what topic, in which language, and so on. And I hope you will start soon practicing making these chatbots so that you will have your own chatbots here. All right, should we stretch a little bit? It looks like some of you are a little bit tired. I've been talking so much. All right. So the first question would have been ethical use of AI in everyday teaching. What does ethical and transparent use of AI mean in your own teaching or mentoring contexts? How can mentors explain to students when and how AI tools like Schoolhub are being used, and what risks might arise if AI use is not clearly explained to learners? This is the first question. Second possible one is equity and inclusivity. Who benefits? In what ways can Schoolhub support learners with different needs, language level disability, limited resources? What barriers to access still exist in your contexts, connectivity, devices, skills? How can mentors help ensure that AI tools do not increase inequality? Then there's data privacy and security in practice. What kind of learner data might be involved when using AI tools? Why is data privacy especially important in an educational context? And how can mentors model safe and responsible behavior when using digital tools. And one more, sustainability and long-term use. What makes an AI tool sustainable for schools in the long term? How can teachers and mentors build skills so that AI use continues after training ends? And what role do mentors have in supporting long-term adoption? So 4 questions that you can choose from. And I think before I put you in a breakout room, you 3 of you, we can openly discuss if you just open your microphones. So Samuel, Oscar, Flavian, you can decide which one of you of these you choose. Ethical use of AI, equity and inclusivity, data privacy and security, or sustainability and long-term use. If you unmute yourself, then you can, just 3 of you, you can decide which one to use or answer.
I can see more mentors here. So
Oh,
have you
yeah.
checked, Eva, how many mentors we have?
Oh, great. Yeah. Okay. It was because I had only this one ribbon.
Okay.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Now we can, how many are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Great.
Yay.
Okay. Now let's see if first group would have equity and inclusivity. And now the
It looked like I see 11 participants.
yeah, and one there's me, transcriptor,
Oh, okay.
Aino, and Lydia. So I think there is 7 of you. So I think we can now have. Would you prefer 2, 2 plus 3, or 3 and 4? So 2 groups or 3 groups. Just lift your hand if you prefer talking in a little bit bigger group, so that would mean that you only answer 2.
I think 2 will be good because we are 7.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I suggest that we then answer these 2 first questions.
Sure.
Ethical use of AI in everyday teaching would be room 1.
Okay.
You will soon see which one it is. If you again take a picture of it so that you remember. And then the second one is equity and inclusivity, who benefits. For my opinion, these are the most important questions. And I will now then stop sharing and put you in the breakout rooms. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So
Karibuni.
I noticed that some of you left and came back, so there might have been some internet problems. And actually, Lydia told me that there is real problems in Patandi with the internet. That's the reason why we don't have so many of the Patandi mentors. But of course, okay, the group 1. I will again share so that we can see. You don't need to read the question again, because read out loud, because the question is here. So whom of the room 1 will be making the summary?
Okay, I will make it briefly.
Great, Flavian.
Yeah. Our first question was, what does ethical and transparent use of AI means in my teaching or mentoring context? We say that ethical and transparent use of AI in teaching context, specifically for mentor, We say that using AI tools it should be in a way that it support learner without replacing human. For example, replacing critical thinking of human. It should not replace the kind of human of thinking, critically thinking. We also say that it should ensure that AI is used fairly, responsible, or inclusivity. It makes sure that all learners with different diversities are included. No one is excluded. We say if it's used in that way, it is ESCO. We also say that it should protect the students' privacy, like data, and avoiding also of reliance of AI for assessment or making decision. We should not use AI like the final things for making decisions. So that's what we also we say. We also say that ethical sometimes means that AI tools do not disadvantage students with disability, especially those with limited digital access. There are other people, so to make sure that that sort of inclusivity, all of them should be, it should consider those differences. And number two, how can mentor explain to students when and how AI tools like Schoolhub are being used? We say that as mentor, we should start by clearly stating the purpose of AI tools, that AI tools, it is there purposely to just to support, for example, teaching and learning, supporting learning practice, or organization, for example, organization of material. So AI is a supporting tools in teaching. And then we also say that we should explain for students what the AI does and it do not. For example, we should tell them that that one is electrical things that have no emotion, sympathy, something like that. And then we also say that informing student when AI is involved, for example, in the context of giving general feedbacks, analysis, something like that. We also say that encourage students to critically evaluate AI output rather than accepting. So a student should not only accept the answer of AI, he should reason and see the answer that he get from the AI and assess it, not relying that what the AI say is exactly. And we should tell students that using it, you should be specific in a way that it can understand. Otherwise, it can give facts answers. And then number three is what risk might arise if AI use is not clearly explained to learner. We also say over dependence of AI. It can be a risk. Student can depend making assignment. He cannot even disturb things. He can just go to maybe ChatGPT and do and becoming like lazy because of dependence. And then we also say equity and the inclusion issue, especially for students with disability or limited access to technology. If it's not well used, it can, if it is not made in a way that it is ensure inclusivity, it can be limited to especially students with disability. So it might be used wisely, or make sure that it consider the diversity of students' learning needs. So that one is what we have discussed in briefly.
Thank you, Florian, for a very diverse summary. So It sounds like you were really discussing very sort of deeply. Thank you. And then how about equity and inclusivity? Room number 2, who will be making the summary?
Okay, thank you. I will
Samuel.
make summary for group number 2 on the context of equity and inclusivity. Who benefits? Starting with the section concerning in what ways can Schoolhub support learners with different needs, for example, language level, disability, and limited resources. As we have discussed, starting with the learners with language level, starting with language level category, we discussed that Schoolhub will help a student to have access of a platform for a student to have multilingual interface and translation. So by using Schoolhub, the student can interact with the language that he or she needs. For instance, it has been explained that for now, it's also, I think, for the future, Swahili language will be also included in Schoolhub. So, for instance, if a student is studying and he or she finds hard for him or her to understand certain language, he or she can use the language that is preferably for him or her. But also, Schoolhub offers automatic translation of content and the explanations. But also for this case of language level, Schoolhub enables to simplify language options. So the content that are presented in Schoolhub depends to the level of the learner. So there are contents that are easy and other content that are intermediate, and the other contents are advanced. So depending on the level of the learner. So the learner can choose questions based on the level that matches him or her. But also in this context of language level, it can provide Schoolhub is a means for language learning assistance. So it will help a student to learn a certain language. For instance, if a student was searching some materials and was using vocabulary that are not correct or pronunciations, so this Schoolhub platform will help to correct such learner. For the case of students who have disability, Schoolhub will help students with disability in accessibility of features. As we know that in Schoolhub, there are features that can turn text to speech. So for learners with visual impairment or dyslexia, they will benefit for using it, because it will help them while they are typing text. Those texts will be changed to speech. But also for those learners who are struggling in typing or writing, the Schoolhub enables to translate speech to text, so they can use that option of giving speeches, so that those speech will be translated into text. For the learners with limited resource, we can find that Schoolhub, the way it is made, it is optimized so that it can be used even in areas where internet is slow. So it is favorable for those learners who are in places with limited resources. But also, I think there is a version of offline access for this Schoolhub that can help learner to learn in advance, even for those who are in who are in limited resources. Okay. On the okay, part 2, the question was, what barriers to access still exist in your context in terms of connectivity, devices, and skills? Basing on our context, when it comes to connectivity, sometimes the internet, the access of internet is not that much strong. So sometimes there is challenge in internet. But also for the case of devices, for our context, we have some devices, but comparing to the number of beneficiaries who are students and students at first, then other staffs. So this device compared to the number of beneficiaries is still inadequate. But also in terms of skills, we can say that we discussed that in terms of skills, for instance, we mentors, we have skills, but we can say that it is still it's primary level. It's some sort of we are introduced to this Schoolhub, but we are still learning more and more. So for now, we can say that we are at primary level. Okay, part 3, the question was, how can mentors help ensure that artificial intelligence tools do not increase inequality? For this case of on how mentors help to ensure that artificial intelligence does not increase inequality, first of all is to make access fair and not just available. So the role of mentors in making sure that the artificial intelligence does not increase inequality is to organize the shared access to devices and the internet at school. So it is true that resource is there, but if that resource if students are not trained on how to access the information, the resources will just be available. So in order for mentors not to increase inequality, we as mentors, we are supposed to make sure that we make these artificial intelligence tools accessible for learners. Yeah, so we as teachers, we're supposed to teach students on how to use, not just let them use it. But also another way for us mentors to make sure that we not increase inequality on the use of artificial intelligence tools is to support those learners who have low confidence, but also who are not that much fluent in language. So we as learners, we have to make sure that we support those learners so that they can benefit with they can benefit too. But also, we as mentors, we have to make sure that we protect learners against the digital cheating gaps. For instance, we can teach students on how to use artificial intelligence, but also we have to tell them the policies and the guidelines and the consequences of using artificial intelligence, so that even if they will be using it secretly, they will be able to understand that what they are supposed to do while they are using artificial intelligence. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. You had really good points there. And I think this artificial intelligence will be one of the main topics for us also when we come there to train. And I strongly recommend to practice with Schoolhub because it is really good. Actually, making those chatbots, and that's, I think if everyone would make some chatbots, so as you saw, even though the interface is not in Swahili yet, but you can still make these chatbots to answer in Swahili. The learner can answer in Swahili, so you can use Swahili. I know the language of instruction in secondary level is English, but I suppose you can still use Swahili, especially with the disabled students. And of course, in Meru Primary School, the language is Swahili. So also there you can just make the chatbots in Swahili. Now I just got an answer from Espen, who is nowadays directing the Schoolhub, that he has added these domains, patandimalum.sc.tz and themisecondary.sc.tz in the accounts that can automatically get the access, which means that you can now give this address for your teachers in your schools, and they can have the access to Schoolhub. Also, Minna now has the access with her Iki address, should have. So, which means that you can now create the accounts. So I think it would be good if each teacher had his or her individual account in Schoolhub, but still the students could use the general accounts, which ends with fsca.fi. I think the IT assistants like Ewald and Chris and Hillary, they know the accounts, but I can also send them to you, and I will. So then the students don't need to create an account. They can just log in with the general account. Great. Okay. And next time, I hope the internet also in Patandi is working. And the next time is in 2 weeks. And we will then, this took a little bit more time than I was expecting, but I don't want to rush if there is important things. So next time we will continue both about the topics for the rest of the spring term, maybe some discussion about the face-to-face training in Arusha, and also some things about Canvas. And I think that will take all 90 minutes. But I'm happy to see you again, and we will see hopefully in 2 weeks. If you notice that there are some reasons why it's difficult to have on what date it is. It's now 30. It's 27th. So we are a
Yes.
bit flexible. We can either have the training on January 27th, or then the first week of February. Then we are flying to Arusha. So we can have at least one online training before we come there. Then when we are there, we are partly on a vacation. So we will not have these trainings, but of course we have the face-to-face training. My oldest daughter, Inka, is joining me with her children, Vilho and Elsie, and we will go on a safari. So that's why I will not have any online training then when they are with us. I'm really eagerly waiting to show them all the wonders of Tanzania.
Yes.
Will
And
it
I'm
be
bringing
their
5
first
of my
time?
friends also,
Yeah.
and they will support FSE after that. And I think they are supporting already.
Yeah.
Will it be their first time to safari in Tanzania?
Yes. First time in Africa, first time in Tanzania, first time on a safari.
Yeah, and the
Ah,
first time to my friends
I've
also.
been saving for this for at least 4 or 5 years because
I am sure they will enjoy more than they have ever come across.
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Vilho is now 18 already, and he's finishing his last year in school, and then he's going to army, so he couldn't join us later. So this is the last time we can. Okay, that army lasts only, is it 11 months? I think so. But still, Elsie is 11 and she's on 4th grade. And so now you can see a little bit of this.
Hello.
Is my youngest daughter,
Hello.
Mirka. She
Mirka.
has already been in Arusha and she joined us on a safari. So, but now it's question about her oldest sister. But yes, if not any other notifications, we will see on 27th, and the topics will be in Canvas, and we will explore some of the Canvas too. But meanwhile, practice with Schoolhub. Make some chatbots so that you can show us some nice chatbots on your own topics. Great.
Okay.
All right. See you
Okay,
soon.
asante sana.
Thank you.
Kwaheri.
See you too.
Kwaheri.
Bye-bye.
Nice to meet you, Mika. Welcome to Arusha.